Well, with me now is the MP for Blackpool North and Cleveleys, Paul Maynard. It's an interesting point that was made at the end there, that if you want to keep people out of prison, cutting youth centres and things like that isn't really the way to go.
Well, it's a fair point. If you want to stop people getting on the conveyor belt of crime, youth services are one way to do that. But I would make the point that it isn't just councils that provide youth services. We have lots of voluntary groups around the country that do similar things.
You have to rely on people to take that on board, and that's quite a big thing, isn't it?
Indeed. But if I was running a local council, I would be asking myself, if I was having to cut youth services myself, is it really such a good idea to be jacking up scout rent, for example, and putting scout groups at risk? They have to look at youth services in the whole, not just in terms of what they themselves provide.
Would you say that the Conservatives still are the party of law and order? Because that could be questioned, as you want to cut prison places and you want to cut police officers.
I think very much we are the party of law and order. If there's one thing we believe, it's that victims at the moment aren't getting a fair deal. It's that people within the system aren't getting a fair deal. We've had Criminal Justice Act after Criminal Justice Act, tinker after tinker with the system under the previous government. And what we've said is we have to take a step back. We've spent 10 years coming up with our policies really on law and order, looking at what works and what doesn't work, trying to understand whether the number of people in the prison population at any one time needs to be higher and higher and higher, and we simply don't believe it needs to be.
But I know you've talked about having, well, correct me if I'm wrong, less people perhaps in prison and more about rehabilitation. Well, do you believe that's the way to go?
Well, I simply pose the question. If crime is coming down, why is the prison population going up?
Okay, but then if we look at the riots and the aftermath of that, there was a knee-jerk reaction and all these people were sent to prison and now they're overcrowded again.
Yes, because they had done things that warranted going to prison.
Did they all, though?
There should be a correlation between the amount of crime committed and the prison population.
You don't think the judges overreacted?
No, I don't think they did. No, I don't think they did. I appreciate they had a really difficult situation to deal with. There was an incredible amount of public demand for a hard-hitting reaction. But when you actually looked at the figures, when you went into it, the people who were committing the crimes, they were in the system for the first time sometimes.
But a lot of them had previous convictions.
And a lot of them didn't. It's very difficult just to make a blanket judgment about the riots to say whether it was right or wrong. Okay. Each individual had their own tale to tell of why they did what they did.
All right, Paul Maynard, thank you very much for joining us today. And that is it from Manchester.